Oh,
not see it coming.
we're live.
Oh, we're live. That happened.
Nice.
Nice.
And that didn't happen though.
Nice.
Yeah. You never know when you're click live and you're like, oh my God, what happened? Wait, did it catch me? No, it didn't. It did not catch you. Nothing caught you.
Nothing to be caught.
Ladies and gentlemen, just, not that we were talking any shit. Now here with Jared Decker and Garrett Atkins yet again. We are actually live across multiple platforms, and it's sending data. I'm seeing here that it is showing up, which looks good. I'm going to click record on that just as a backup, and I'm also going to click record on this as a backup too. But wow. Welcome, new members, to the Superhero Academy Facebook community. That has been popping off lately.
Quite a few of you.
Yeah, there's a lot of new fans. I think it was like 700 or 800 of you that have joined in the last
days or something.
7 or 8 days. Yeah, so not by accident. Not by accident. We're definitely doing things on purpose in terms of making as valuable of content as we can, but also at the same time looking to just share so much valuable stuff, and there's so much more to come. But this very show, the first time you're ever tuning in, and I see that there's 15 or 16 of you right now.
Hello,
yeah. Is this very show is our live podcast that we're going to be doing normally on Wednesdays, but today is a special day, Thursday. We're going for a little Thursday dip. But yeah, so thank you so much for being a part of the group. And if you haven't been a part of the show before, you can ask us questions directly on Facebook, and we will actually see your questions here on Restream, and then we'll answer them. So today we're talking about group growth hacking, podcasting, content making,
whatever
comes to mind.
You just got to start,
Yeah.
and then you just let it flow from there.
Exactly.
That's the best place to be. It's great to get to know each other to this capacity where we don't have to ask each other to start with an introduction each time.
Oh, yeah.
So whenever you're going, every new podcast you get onto, then you always got to start with tell us your backstory, tell us this, and you got to go 20 minutes goes into the same old story, which is great and very valuable to people who don't know the story, but sometimes you just want to get into the meat of everything. So whenever we're able to have that consistency here, you can kind of get to know these familiar faces, and then from that point, just enjoy the conversation. And also add to the conversation as well.
Exactly.
Which is very powerful.
Yeah, and you know, it's nice to create some context, like, hey, we're here, we're in Montreal, we're live streaming. This is what we call the Storytory. It's the headquarters of Superhero Academy. We are the core team. There's others that are involved as well, but we're part of the core team that's here in Montreal. And but I agree that, like, to me, I'm so sick and tired of podcasts that just basically, like, so tell me, what's your origin story? You know what I mean? Like, what made you turn into a philanthropreneur? And it's like, if I had $1 for the number of times I've answered that question, I would be rich on podcasts. It's incredible how many times, like, I can't imagine that there's like at least 50 podcasts out there with my face and name on it where I'm just saying, like, yeah, I walked out into the middle of a GMO corn and soya field and planted a tree. And
I could tell that story the amount of times I've heard
right?
you
It's a great story, but it leaves no time for Area 51 talk, Bitcoin, economic growth.
I mean, whatever else, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Working out. Who knows?
That's what I want to talk about.
You got to have that space for who knows. I mean, we started the kettlebell challenge of swinging 10,000 kettlebells in 30 days, and we've taken a little dip in it.
Kettlebells that we're swinging just 10,000 times.
Exactly. Just to thank you for the clarification.
We're swinging 10,000 kettlebells.
But there's like a bunch of different interesting little challenges we give ourselves, which I think are kind of fun to document the process of. Yeah, and even, I don't know, people have their journaling, and now there's more vlogging happening, but I've got even a Yeti mic at my house that I want to just start recording day-to-day processes of, and just like
Do you keep an audio journal?
I might.
Do you have to turn it into a challenge to actually do it?
I got a lot of challenges going right now.
No, I'm just saying. I was going to say, the thing about Garrett is he can't do something.
I get that.
Kind of fades out.
I need it. Yeah, I need some extremes to it. I need some rewards and some steaks on the table. Not that kind of steak because I'm a vegetarian. But so we need some things on the line, and it's fun. I mean, I'd rather not eat for 5 days and do a clay fast and then swing 10,000 kettlebells and then do this accountability challenge that we're doing right now, which is really cool. It's called Exponential. And it's a really cool process to go through with a group of people. And while you're in it, everybody has a challenge and a task they have to do every single day. And if somebody fails one of those challenges or tasks, then the whole group has to do like a punishment or something like that. So which is great because I myself am more likely to do it because I don't want other people to have to suffer on my behalf. So it's a good way to keep it accountable. Exactly. Otherwise, otherwise it's easy to prioritize other people's first. Be like, and I'll get around to it tomorrow. But the past couple of days, especially since my parents were in town, and I only had a certain window in the morning to get things done, which is great for me because I love to work during the day a little bit. It's very therapeutic for me to just like mark off the checklist. I'm like, okay, I feel good. But in those short time frames, I had to get some stuff done before I went out for the day. And I got things done that I had been pushing off for 2 weeks just because I had a certain amount of time. And it's like, just stop overthinking it. Just do it, make it. And then.
What are the things that you normally push off? Like, what are the things you see and find yourself constantly like, ooh, later?
It's all, it's all my own stuff for one.
Yeah.
It's never like client stuff or it's like stuff I need to open up a conversation between this person and this person doing it for a friend. It's always like updating my LinkedIn profile. I did that today. And it's been the same one for the past year and it was very vague and I'm starting to geek out on LinkedIn a little bit more and posting more videos on there. So check me out, connect. I will accept the connection. We're live on there.
LinkedIn, yeah.
LinkedIn, getting those keywords in. But I finally updated it to really stick with the philosophy of what I think a great LinkedIn profile should look like. And it's V1 of it. And I'm going to add few things with it, get some emojis in there, spice it up a little bit. But I just needed that version 1 out of the way and that first 90% oomph. And then I can kind of tinker with the next 10% over the next week. Exactly. And then it also forces yourself to fix it faster. Because once you get V1 out there and you start seeing some people's eyeballs are going on there, you're like, oh shit,
I literally legit did that with our website.
Yeah, it's like
push it live. Oh shit, need
make or break.
You know what I mean? Like it just goes so quickly because you it's almost like you're embarrassed that other people are going to see things, even though and like some people might notice something or whatever it is, but it forces your hand to show up in a different way, which I find beautiful. Like I personally am motivated by that kind of rush of, oh shit, people might be watching. This is why I love the idea of live as well here. Darshan, say hi in video, man, please. He wants to know whether or not we can actually say hi to you. So yes, we can say hi to you, meaning if you're joining this right now, you can ask us questions and we will talk about it live on the podcast.
Nice.
If you've got a good enough question. I say that, but a joke. If you have bad questions, we probably won't answer it though, for real.
But it's good to have those challenges to yourself of like how you can gamify certain things to always play with it. Where it's like, it makes a challenge, or whenever even when I'm working out or doing something, I always even start like mixing up the way I count. So I'm trying to get to 100 and I'll just count in like cycles of 10s. Or whenever I get to 80, I'm like, oh, I'm almost there. So I'm just going to continue to count up in that way. But that's another way just to gamify.
Small little gamification pieces to any little challenge has a huge impact.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's how I think it's like the best in the Navy or the best in all of those different. Exactly. Yeah. Is that you like, rather than focusing on, oh, how do I finish the marathon? It's like, how do I get to the next checkpoint? How do I just need to get there. Okay, great. And then you have that little win, and that win kind of maintains the momentum of what you need to do. And we were talking about like just the momentum in general of Superhero Academy and things related to that. And, we're experiencing that right now. Like right before we got on this podcast, we were talking about how we're working with this guy, Matt Donnelly, who was initially involved with us. We were kind of doing I guess like a 3-way partnership 2 years ago, just under 2 years ago. Just under 2 years ago. And we kind of growth hacked Superhero Academy from 4,000 followers to 400,000 followers. And then we kind of recently picked the ball back up with him. And then all of a sudden, boom, we hit the 500,000 mark.
Yeah.
Which is today.
Yeah.
And now we're like already at 5,500, 505,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah. We're growing like 36,000 new fans every week.
Yeah. Which is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always exciting because there's synergy between the momentum the momentum that can be formed when you're working with somebody. And at the exact same time, there's synergy in the, there's just like something to be said about working with people that it just works. It just clicks. Like if you have the right mix, the right ingredients, you build the right ecosystem, you can create the most potent of codes.
Well,
if you want to
it's
use
about
this.
working, so having the right combination of people, the right skill sets, but then also, like we were talking about earlier, working with people who are really like excited and in their element. Those are the people it works with. Like you talk about the energetics of posting. The energetics are right. Doesn't matter what time it is. Post that shit.
Yeah.
And this is the same. Like the energetics of what the person is right and loving it. The work.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I ask people all the time is this what you want to be doing? Is this like really what you're excited about? I definitely think people should like push through and like challenge themselves and get out of their comfort zone and learn new skills and stuff like that. But if you're consistently not having an awesome time, then it's gonna show with time. So
You're dragging your feet.
yeah,
Everything becomes like a process, and you have to force it. And you have
becomes
to push, and
it becomes the same old, and even I recommend this to people all the time is whenever they're starting out, building out their career as a freelancer business or whatever, they're spending so much time working on their business. So they're like looking for clients, like making sure they're set up their website, doing all these different things. And then next thing you know, once you start hitting that wave and you're starting to have a whole bunch of clients roll through and you're picking up the steam and you have less and less time to actually work on the business and to work on your own projects, that you lose that excitement of geeking out, and to make sure you prioritize those times where you can have those little projects going on. So if you're a graphic designer and you're always delivering on your client stuff, then you're kind of just doing the rounds and it's great and you're providing and it's providing your income and you're living that dream life. But also at the same time, whenever you have that extra time to work on the passion projects, it really brings out the excitement of why you got into the first place, why you were that 14 person that illegally downloaded Photoshop and started playing with it in high school, and now like you're just a master designer. So having those time to actually continue to geek out, which is great because it keeps your level of excitement, and it also translates and transmutes into your clients' work as well, because you're testing things out and you have this new playground where you can try different ideas and different strategies, and it's a win-win situation because you're having fun, you're learning new skills, and it's also a win for the client because that's going to make your work better for them and bring new techniques to the table that you're learning in your spare time.
the only thing I would challenge with that is put it in your time, but I think you should actually block out time.
Great clarification. And you should block out that time and hold it as high of a priority as client work as well, because we've spoken about this a couple of times where it's easy to always prioritize other people's stuff first above yours, and then you're never really like making the strides on it. But whenever you're setting out your schedule for the beginning of the week, make sure you're putting in those times to geek out, or just leave a big gap open at night if you're one of those night owls, and just have that spare time to, if you're one of those people, or maybe you're an early morning person, you want to have that really creative time of the day, whether it's you're a night person or early morning person, to have that space. And you don't have to like commit to, you don't want to make it too I have to finish X with it, but as long as you sit down at the desk and stroke the keyboard and hit one or two words out, the rest will flow out, and keeping that consistency.
Sure. That's one thing. He said it. He said he forces himself to sit down, and he's either allowed to write or do nothing.
Yeah.
Those are the two options.
Yeah.
So you can do nothing. That's fine, but
You can't do anything else.
you can't do anything else. Those are your options. He says it's great, and you sit there and you're like, oh, I'm just gonna do nothing. After 2 minutes, you're like, okay, this is boring.
Yeah.
And then
You start writing. Yeah.
Or whatever it is, if it's graphic design, or if it's nerding out on social media or LinkedIn, or whatever you're getting creative with at that moment.
Mm-hmm. It's fun to geek out.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite emoji. Is the little nerdy one.
Haven't added that to my cycle of emojis yet, but I could see that making its way in sometime soon. Yeah.
I'm just like so stoked that this is finally all working.
How's it looking over there?
It's good. I think there was a problem with Jared's mic for half a second, but I fixed that. And so anybody who's watching, again, if you're watching this, we are actually live. This is not a pre-recording. This is coming to you from the Storytory here in Montreal. We've got kind of our podcast set up, and we're planning on going more and more live, particularly in our Facebook group, which has been doing incredibly well recently. We've been really focused on that. So know that we can answer your questions. And, we talk a lot about podcasting. We talk a lot about growth hacking. We know a ton about social media management and storytelling and all the things. We like pretty lights in the background. Anything you want to know about those things, know that we are paying attention, and that we can actually read your comments live as they come through. So we'll answer as much as we can while we're flowing.
Questions coming in. What is your guys' favorite?
I don't know. Right now, this is my favorite. This is my favorite growth hack. It's not the thing that I would say is like we haven't used it fully to its full potential at the moment, but it's.
I don't even need the most effective. I just the one that.
Yeah, the one that's most exciting to me is what we're doing right now, which is that we are so wherever you're watching this, you might be on Facebook. Most of you probably are, but the truth is we're actually live streaming to Twitch, to YouTube, to LinkedIn, to Periscope. And we can basically live stream to multiple platforms, and that to me is incredibly exciting because something could go on right now. We could talk about it, and there's something beautiful about being able to be live. It removes the ability for us to edit, and that's what I also like too, because you get the real rawness. And that's what I think there's a real beauty to that. Like the growth hack, and this is like the most cheesy thing ever, but the growth hack that works the most is authenticity. And so yesterday, for example, I think it was yesterday, the day before, I think it might have been the day before actually, Bernie Sanders goes on Joe Rogan. And, one of the topics they spoke about is how like in these debates, they have like a minute or 12 seconds to answer something that somebody else said about them. And so there's no real discussion or conversation. And so you're getting these pre-programmed answers to questions that they kind of already know. They know what the large issues are. There's very little like real kind of posturing or things that, the only things that they don't know are what quips the other person might have. But even then they're so well studied, they're so well prepared for that the amount of airtime that they have it's not the same as when you're on a podcast, right?
Yep.
And Joe Rogan to me is like the king of video podcasts, live, real conversation. Yeah, Bernie Sanders gave some like, standard talking points that he would have said on some stage, and it's because he was asked those questions, and at the same time he had the opportunity to truly talk about what he thinks. And you can see where the script was and where the script ended, and that's what I love about like where content is today. And I think we're losing elements of that when we watch like Instagram stories and whatever, because we're getting that we're getting that raw interface again in a different way because people are showing their faces through Instagram stories a lot, but we're not quite getting it in the way that I think a live podcast on multiple platforms is doing. And that's what I'm excited about.
Yeah. With Bernie? Yeah. I listened to a couple different segments of it. They chopped it up. I think it was an hour long, which is a shorter one for Joe Rogan. As people know who listen to Joe Rogan, he's typically 3 hours long. But yeah, they chopped it up to a couple different pieces, and I was looking at it. And he was asking some really big questions. And then in that platform, you just kind of sit there and you look at the person being interviewed, and you're like, okay, take all the time you want to answer it. As opposed to what he was saying with the quick debates and the quick turnarounds, you have that certain amount of time, and you know what it is, and you just spit out the lines where you can be completely caught off guard. And Joe's a really great interviewer as well, and he's a master at it, I would say. So seeing him, his responses, and just seeing the way his mind works of not just having the flow of it, not just having the next question prompt and ready, but actually you can tell he's fully in the moment, and he is quick to turn around and respond with something that sometimes will poke him, or sometimes is edgy, or sometimes wasn't expecting to challenge that, as opposed to just be very passive in it and not just use the platform to kind of push their agenda or promote the next book. And obviously it's a great little PR like circle if you're able to get on Joe Rogan, like the Area 51 guy, Bob Lazar, I think his name was. Yeah. On there whenever the launch of the Netflix was, or some sort of, I'm sure that there was some sort of a conversation had that it was around that same time, but it does give that freedom to respond and just to have the conversation flow, even if it goes completely in left field. that's where you can see the true personality of somebody come out. It's just how they hold themselves in a conversation and on the fly like that.
So what's your favorite hack?
I think it's just being consistent on social media right now. I don't think there's any. I mean, I have a bunch of hacks and growth tips and tricks and a bunch of that stuff as well. But what most excites me right now is the ability to just stay consistent, have conversations, and build your brand in that way. Because what myself and Mark have geeked out on a lot is growth hacking and being the wizards behind the curtains of millions of eyeballs and the ability to push a message very fast in a short amount of time. But not everybody has access to all the influencers that we have and to all the equipment that we have, and have really spent that much time going deep because we're an agency or an online academy. And that's what we geek out on a lot of the time. But if somebody was coming into this and they're wanting to build up their own design business or their own coaching practice, their own consulting practice, or their own business, I'm trying to figure out and go into the mindset of how can that person use the resources that they have and actually integrate it into their own method and their own marketing, marketing campaign and strategy that anybody could tap into and start making those connections. Otherwise, because there's only so much time in the day, and as much as I want to be hired by a bunch of people, I actually don't want to be hired by a bunch of people. The best way that I myself, and I would think that Mark would agree, to empower other people is through education and through just teaching people to do it by themselves and start with that consistency. And first and foremost is, if you know your message, people know you as a sustainability person, they know you as the gut cleanse person, and you're just putting content out there every single day, you will grow an audience. Do that for a year and you'll have your 1,000 true fans, you'll have your 500 true fans, and that's going to carry with you for the whole career.
Yeah, that's actually one of the people that we work with that I know who does it best is Carrie.
She's great.
She's amazing at the consistency of like putting out a post. I think she does like a couple a week. She does definitely like a post every day about one of her clients or something like that. But it's
a great mix. Yeah. She gives pointers. She does like the 3 steps to something, and then you'll do like the case studies of the clients, which is a great way to like flex the ability of the results and that firsthand, which is very comforting to somebody because you can speak a lot, but if you're actually getting the testimonial, or you're getting the actual deliverables shown to you, that's a great mix in there as well. And then you also add like the personality as with it, and there is like a flow and a strategy, and you can see like the different types of content that someone is putting out. But once you know those barriers and those parameters, you can stop asking the question of, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. It's like, once you have those few lanes, then it's like, if you really are passionate about this lane or this craft, if I wrote social media at the top of a piece of paper, I could probably write down 50 things in an hour, and then I can make a piece of content about each. Maybe I'll mark 10 off of them, but it's just like, if you truly know your lane, just knock them out.
Not that complicated.
Yeah, and then just start sharing, and you'll improve with time. But it's just about the start of it.
So I've started to try and put out more consistently. Mine happens to be about project management, but it's the getting better over time. And I mean, you've talked about this a lot recently as well. You're getting over the perfect and just getting something out. I think that's where I'm struggling right now. Like, but I want it to be amazing and I want it to be great. It's just like,
it'll never be though. That is the game. Thing, right? That is the game. You're always wanting to improve. You always wanting to do better, and then you end up like Mark here, twisting on 1,000 different knobs, and has this whole like a mad media laboratory going on in here. But that's the game.
Yeah,
and that's
what's exciting. The madness comes from the learning the system, getting better and better, and tweaking at those things. But eventually, you do dial it, and you do get somewhere pretty beautiful as well. Like, I looked at. I was just like, again, going back to Joe Rogan, I was kind of looking at, okay, where did they start in 2009, and what did that look like? And then what does it look like today? And then, it's like, here we are trying to start, but comparing ourselves very much to
His today.
His today, and his today is, 10 years into the game, 1,000 some odd episodes deep. We're rookies compared to that at best, and particularly with the entire system, video and audio and all the things that go with that. And he also always had someone who took care of those things. You know what I mean? Like, he would do the podcast, so he had somebody else who was doing the video / audio pieces of it.
So it is like doing it yourself.
Well, it's nice. It's nice. Like, we're using, for those who are paying attention, we do have what is called a live, kind of a live stream system that we use to go through Restream. And then we use something called Cinemaker, and then we can switch as we click on the iPad. Oh, yeah, they can see. It literally switches to the different camera angles and the different pieces. And somebody was asking, are you tuning out the woman on purpose? And it's just because Jera's mic wasn't working so well, but I think I fixed it. No, the answer is no, we are not at all.
They value my opinion. They're not tuning me out on purpose.
If anything, we should be tuning her up, and we should be tuning us down.
Very true.
We would be running a better business. But
I'm gonna start blushing in a second.
No, I mean, but it is nice to play with all these different things and figure it all out. Every day I kind of figure out one extra little piece. I think that's the thing the growth hacking that I have in my mind is, and you were kind of alluding to this, and I like to call intra projects and external projects, right? So external clients, and then your intra work. And your intra work is, what are you doing for you that makes you better at what you do, and that you're actually excited about. So sometimes it's geeking out on things like Restream. Other times it's completely different. And yeah, I mean, I think it just kind of flows through the different elements of how do you stay in some level of discovery and then some level of creation. And I just focus on one little piece a day. That's how I operate everything I do in business. Did I do one thing today for my business? Did I do one thing today for me? Did I do one thing today for fun? And then I have these different check marks that I look to figure out. And that rounds yourself. Like, I think you kind of start finding your groove in all of that. And so this is becoming, as much as it seems like there's a lot of friction, there's significantly less friction than I had a month ago. And there's significantly much less friction than I had like 2-3 months ago. So now I'm feeling really, really comfortable doing this over and over and over again. And, I mean, Garrett was like, hey, why don't we do a podcast? And sometimes I would induce like a dose of anxiety where I'm like, oh, fuck, am I going to be able to get it up? Like, can I do the whole thing? And it sounds ironic because I'm not talking about performance in bed. I'm talking about getting the podcast up and running. And no, but seriously, can I get everything working? And here and there, certain things don't fully float. You know what I mean? I sent a friend request to my friend on Facebook, but he blocked me. I can't see his account profile. How can I get that? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't know.
Why did they block you?
Why did they block you?
I think the whole point of blocking is that you can't then see their profile.
Starting to make a new profile or sign into your buddy's profile.
Dude, don't give stalking advice.
I mean, that's the only way to see it. I mean, if you're blocked, you're blocked.
If you're blocked, you're blocked.
Yeah, I mean, but, I don't know why you were blocked, but, I mean, there's plenty of fish in the sea. It's like, yeah.
Keep going after, like, make other friends. If somebody's willing to block you, you probably shouldn't be trying to win their approval or be their friend in the first place.
That's what my recommendation would be.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But I do think that there's a turn of the guard that's going on with the content world, upon which, like, we entered the age of the kind of the influencer, maybe 2-3 years ago, I would say. It's kind of like where I think the word influencer became more of a thing. I'm sure if I looked at Google Trends, it's probably like right around there that the spike. Yeah. I'm actually curious. I want to bring it up, but that is I think we're seeing kind of the decline of those things where there's a lot of, there's a lot of fakeness to that. And so there's something beautiful about being able to, like, tweak live. Allow people to like, I am running around tweaking the knobs and doing the things, and I'm happy that people can see that to some degree rather than hide it. It's like, yeah, this is what it takes. This is an art.
This is the real.
I'm not just a DJ who went up and plugged in a USB and then pressed one button and it was like, woo, you know what I mean? And then like pretending to turn all the knobs. Like it's not that at all.
DJ Mark.
And then yeah, my DJ name is DJ Mark Eats Molly for breakfast. That's my DJ name around here. But
it's like what you're saying is essentially what Gary Vee preaches as well when it comes to documenting.
Exactly.
It's not about like the perfect exposed shot and like the perfect exposed highlight reel. Is what people are going to resonate with is the ups and the downs together and the whole process of it. And that's where you're going to have the lifelong tribe and group and fan base and customers are those who have a deeper connection with you than some more materialistic or superficial connection of like, oh, cool, that's a backflip into the water. Which, if you can backflip into water, great for you. And it's awesome. It's cool. But also, and do that if you want to do that. I'm not going to stop you. But at the same time, that's what Gary Vee talks about a lot of times. It's more so about the consistency and it's about the whole process.
Yeah. Because people do pay attention, right? Somebody does Google the person and say, where did they start? Yeah. Just like I did. At the end of the day, like there is somebody who will look at what we've created and say, fuck, I can't get into that. I can't live stream video, podcast, and blah, blah, blah. And they'll see it as this big barrier. And I understand why. Like I fully acknowledge the privilege that we have to be able to do this. And I also recognize this is something that others can achieve too. Right?
Yeah, because it was the journey. Like it's a journey to get here. It was a whole process.
Exactly. Like it didn't start with this. It started with one like little webcam and $500 on a chalkboard in my parents' basement. And that was Superhero Academy. And then I had kind of run this podcast, which was using Skype. And I got this like Ecamm thing, which was like a $29 plugin. And then you could record me and the other person speaking. And then I learned Photoshop and then I put a skin on top of it and I uploaded that. And that was the podcast for the longest time. And like, it worked. Like I had some pretty interesting people. Like I think episode 2 was David Avocado Wolf. Before David Avocado Wolf was David Avocado Wolf, which is hilarious.
Before the avocado.
Before the avocado.
Exactly. This documentary name. Before the avocado.
But it's true though. It was before he like ended up doing all this kind of what I would consider to be inauthentic growth hacking, right? Like just posting whatever is viral for the sake of virality, just to grow a Facebook page, which is great. You know what I mean? Like that's great. That was a business model. And it for sure worked out for him. It for sure empowered him a ton. But it's not necessarily the brand or the business that I want to be in, right? I want to be authentically me. I want to show up and kind of answer questions. And somebody might ask something here that could be incredibly confronting. And that is, I think, beautiful. I think that's where we're going to find a lot of beauty. There's going to be a lot more live streaming in the future, I think. Yeah. What other trend would you say is going on? I know another place we've been growth hacking, and shout out to who we call the Instagram boys, our good friends Sammy and Syed.
Yeah.
We've been growth hacking around Pinterest. Pinterest has been a thing that we've been looking at too. You know, they went public. They started native video. They had an ad platform come out. They have more users, apparently. I don't know. That's always interesting to me. I have no idea. I've never seen...
Do you guys use Pinterest?
I don't use Pinterest, no.
I've never seen anybody use Pinterest.
Dad said the other day, he was like, yeah, I saw this on Pinterest. And I was like, hey, that's cool.
Really?
I mean, I use Pinterest,
People use Pinterest
all the time.
Specifically
but
people...
I was just surprised that...
Yeah, there are older demographics on there as well.
Wait, you use Pinterest all the time?
Oh, yeah.
I actually follow... The only
Literally
thing that I
all the
follow
time.
on there is Your Board. Because I was looking at some of your designs, some of like one of your mood boards for Curious Stoic. Yeah. And I liked the designs on there. Yeah. Because whenever I was geeking out on design for a week or two.
I have like folders upon folders upon folders in there.
Really? Yeah. So anybody who's watching this, do you use Pinterest? Because I want to know. I want to know.
People use it.
I mean, somebody is using it because their numbers aren't all
almost
fake or
every recipe. So almost everything that I cook, Garrett and I are flatmates. Everything I cook at the house, It's probably a recipe I found on Pinterest at some point.
Yeah.
A lot of quotes that I really love, I've found there, discovered there. All of the
Designs.
workouts that I've done at
Yeah.
home, I like that's where I go to like find my inspiration for workouts, like design stuff when I'm creating my mood boards.
Somebody's read
have
it.
Food, memes.
I have a
And
My Future Life
photography,
folder, and that's how
design.
I visualize when I'm visualizing in the morning.
So I guess I do see it as a visual. It is like
It's a visual for
it's
sure.
a pin board. It's like
Yeah.
you're acting it. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, that's what it's designed to do.
I
But
think the problem was the ability to monetize on the platform, which they're trying to figure out right now. And,
There's
like,
a
how
lot
it-
of ads up now.
There's ads, and then there's
Sponsored.
the growth hacking of sending people to websites, so linking different memes and different actual images to blogs or to videos or certain things to increase traffic. So people are playing with that.
well, we got from 0 to 1 million engagement in 6 months.
That sounds impressive to me, but I don't know like what's
I mean, it's
normal.
impressive.
So,
It's impressive
yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
It's super impressive to me. I did not expect that we would get that high. It's low embodied engagement, meaning it's not like the people aren't really following us for us. They're just following the content for the content. But I think if we started putting more like Superhero Academy memes and things that were very specific to our like to this brand,
Yeah.
that we would start seeing some
I'm guessing like
support
if
there.
so articles that we post, they should be going there, like even
Yes.
short clips, because there's a lot of like short videos that are going on. So even those type of things.
Yeah,
That
and they're,
would
and they're going
be-
vertical, right? They're kind of like Instagram,
vertical, yeah.
IGTV style. Yeah, I was thinking about all the IGTV stuff going to Pinterest. Just everything we would post to that, we would post to Pinterest as well, just to see what that gives. Because I think that there's the interesting thing about Pinterest, this is why I'm interested in Pinterest, is because it's being indexed by Google, and everything else is not. I mean, YouTube is obviously, but everything else in terms of tweets are indexed by Google, but not the same way. Like it's like mainly news is indexed by Google, but the world of imagery and video being indexed by Google on Pinterest makes me kind of think that there's like a real long-term strategy from an SEO perspective. SEO meaning search engine optimization for those listening. But I don't know. I mean, there's some return on 1 million engagement somehow. I think it's
Yeah.
good for the brand
Even
somehow.
if it's just top of mind.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's if they know what's relevant, or they share the things, and if you know consistently over whatever platform you're gonna get quality either tips or pins, or like you followed my board because you like something in it, and every time I would add, you're like, oh, that's interesting. Even if we're doing that, people are like, oh, when they pin stuff, it has value, so it's worth following them because, and we're top of mind. I'm assuming that's kind of the same, work the same way.
Sounds good to me.
Cool.
I don't know.
You're
I
catching
don't know.
on.
I don't know anything about Pinterest. I can't remember the last
either.
time I opened it other than to look at the stats.
It's an interesting platform for sure. It's definitely somebody's version of Reddit. It's definitely what was the not 4chan, but there was the Imgur.
Imgur.
Yeah, that's a funny one as well.
But see, I guess it's for whoever.
But
I mean,
like
different
my-
people have different types of lifestyles and different things. So
Yeah.
those who are looking for lifestyle content are finding significantly better lifestyle content on Pinterest than probably anywhere else. I would imagine
Pinterest is
that
like a
interior
magazine.
designers, yes,
It's literally a magazine.
it's the same appeal as magazines.
Yeah.
That's what I get from that.
Yeah.
And I just don't subscribe, and I've never subscribed to a magazine, so I don't.
Which is fine. You don't have to have a pulse on every single network and platform. Like I try to stay away from Twitter right now, and I'm not on Pinterest at the moment. I'm like, all right, couple things at a time. I'm geeking out on LinkedIn at the moment, and then we're getting Instagram back up and rocking when it comes to superhero, and then now we're picking up Facebook Steam again, and then one of the next things that we'd like to do is get our articles rolling out again. So it's kind of like knocking it off and really being strategic with those next steps, because sometimes
I'm
we
keen
can't
to geek
be.
out on Twitter.
Yeah.
Twitter. I think Twitter was saved by Donald Trump. And
Except that,
large personalities.
yeah. So
Yes.
most of like the bigger names that I'll listen to in interviews, they're like, oh, I don't really use Facebook, but here's my Twitter handle, and I'm like, okay, obviously it's still a really. And maybe they're all older. Now I'm trying to think. No, but we went to the Jim Carrey exhibit yesterday, and
That's
him
awesome.
and Ariana Grande. I'm totally butchering her name, but whatever. They were like having a conversation over Twitter, so she's on it.
No, I think all the major
influencers,
names.
yeah,
Major names are on
yeah,
Twitter.
they're on there, and like news outlets, and that's where like people make their. Elon Musk is on there.
Yeah.
People
that's funny.
to make like consistent updates and statements. Or Instagram, you always have to have an image connected to it, or it's only be live for 24 hours. You put it in there, and then Facebook is. I don't know. They've probably got their reason on there as well. You're not going to send out a mass email of just like small updates, but it's a way to. I think it's one of the best ways to engage in the platform, to have that two-way communication and to put out those short snippets and to like real time see people interacting with it. Casey Neistat's a big fan of Twitter. I think it's for a lot of people, it's their way of having press releases, like sharing more immediate thoughts, and also the chosen platform for real time engagement and communication with fans.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of Periscope in a long time, even though we're live streaming to it. I'll say that much. Nobody's watching on Periscope, but it is an interesting thought.
Yeah, I was interested whenever he said we could go live there as well. The only person I heard about pushing that was Gary Vee a long time.
I've never even heard of it.
No. But this was like whenever it was coming up.
Now everyone's talking about TikTok, which used to be Musical.ly.
Yeah, it's like the new version of Vine, essentially.
But with more music integrated.
Yeah, and like a younger demographic,
Like
I would say.
SoundCloud mixed with Vine.
It's short videos, and
It's super short videos.
They have interesting cuts and like
Comedy.
overlay of like different movie zines.
Okay.
From what I see, and I'm like, I I actually never had a Vine account, but I love Vine. I watch them all the time at night.
I think they're hilarious.
They're so funny, and I think it's like one of the purest and best forms of comedy. They're so quick, and they're only 7 seconds long. So you have to fit in a full joke and context, and be able to spark a laugh in that short amount of time. And I'm somebody who likes that style of comedy, and also bringing that comedy forth. I'm the person that will have like a quick reply or something snappy or really short, bite size, little things to make somebody laugh.
Quip. Yeah.
So I think that Vine has been an inspiration for that. And I watched their little funny title. It's like, I can't go to sleep at 2 a.m. Vine. It's like 10 minutes or something like that of just Vine compilations. But TikTok is a similar vibe, I would say.
Yeah.
Some
but
people would argue
it's 15 seconds, right?
I do believe that it's longer videos.
But I think that the key thing that's different is that you record something, then you let go, then you record the next thing, and then like stop. Like, so you're able to kind of edit on the spot. That's the beauty of it.
You can do that on Vine as well.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That's where Vine and because where Instagram doesn't allow you to do that proper.
Yeah.
You can't really
On app.
Exactly. On app is on app. I can make a little story that has the cut built in without touching any other like any other program of any kind, and that's the point. But I don't. It's so funny because that's like, it seems like such an obvious integration to all the other platforms, in my opinion. Like, let people edit, allow people the opportunity to kind of build their own little stories and just make the cuts.
They're going to do it anyway. They're either doing it on in-app or on platform or not.
Yeah, but it slows down the process. If I have to if I can just make the joke when I have it.
Yeah.
Like when the joke
no, but
is
that's
alive.
what I mean. Like, let them do it because it's going to happen anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sure they're micro testing it to 100 people there, 100 people there. And I can only imagine the amount of testing that goes on for the rollout of these larger organizations when it came to them removing the likes, which is an interesting conversation. Yeah, as well. Is like now they first started in Canada, I think some places in Australia, or maybe like 1 or 2 places in Europe, and now they're expanding it more. They took mine away for a little while, but now I can see the likes again, and they're tinkering with it, and they're having some sort of wizardry computer analysis, like a AI program running. It's just consuming millions of pieces of information every single second and making sense of it.
Yeah. I wonder. So one of the other things, they're removing the likes off the post, but apparently they're going to remove or like make the amount of like the importance of followers smaller as well, where you might not see how many followers somebody has anymore either. Or like you will, but like in a very like a different way, it'll be more hidden or something like that. It's another thing that they're thinking about removing as well.
Yeah, I'm curious what the thought process is behind
Yeah,
it.
I was just trying to think. I wonder what the idea.
I think it's because what happens is that as you're getting a negative feedback loop, right? So if you're like a smaller person, smaller meaning you have less followers, you might be in this comparison mode to other people, and then it
yeah.
depresses you from posting or interacting on that
Yeah.
platform anymore, because it's kind of creating this negative feedback loop that
Yeah.
you're not enough in some way, shape,
I
or
guess
form.
it's because like we were at an event in Costa Rica. We host an event, and somebody was like, "Yes, some people here don't even have 1,000 followers," and I was like, "Yeah, that would be me." Like, ooh.
Damn.
But that's I've noticed that as well though. Whenever Instagram first started, and it was more so fun friends, like terrible filters, and it was more so about the process. And now everything that you do see is held up to this higher standard. Like I barely even post all the time myself, and partly do that is because I want to have a better shot, and rightfully so. I mean, I have the capabilities when it comes to my ability to edit and to take pictures and storytell, but at the same time, I could see why that slows it down, and it becomes more of just the major influencers, just people putting out these pieces of content, and people are less using it to just share for sharing sakes. Yeah.
I think that's where the authenticity, that's where they went right with stories, is that luckily people can share for that sake. And they're less conscious because it's living for a shorter period of time.
Oh, I bet without stories on there, I bet
Instagram would die.
people wouldn't be on there for a fourth of the time, even like a fifth of the time that people get on there now, because that's the first thing that people go to. And if you look at somebody, I like the people that can actually have. London Real is one of my favorite people when it comes to content creators. And now he has podcasts, not a similar setup, but he does have a podcast, and they're just chopping up short snippets all the time. He might have like a meme or two on there every now and then, but he's really consistent with it. He has a nice little content production mill happening, and he also shares a lot of his personal life as well, of him working out. He's trying to be a triathlon right now, so like that consistency and that is great. I think he's kind of the in between like well polished and still has like the personality show through. Then you have people who are like super polished and only post once every week or 2 weeks or every day, but that's their full-time job, is to take those pictures. And then you have somebody who uses it, and I'm speaking about like more like influential people with it at this moment that I follow, is somebody like Tyler Childers, who's a country music artist. He's pretty close to where I grew up in, and he's just blowing up in the past couple years, and his is hilarious. It's like actually like it's him, like it's his shots, and it's just way more personable to it. And everybody, like, I think that's why he's growing so fast on there, because you can just tell it shines through, and it's less polished, and he has less people like input of somebody catering and crafting every single post for him. And then you'll have some posts that come out that are obviously like nice promos and that stuff, and it makes sense, and rightfully so. But also the consistency of the jokes and the comedy and just the lifestyle, I think is very interesting and a good mix to add to it.
Consistency is under spoken about, undervalued in terms of just like how important consistency is to success online. I think it's almost
most important.
I think it's like paramount.
Yeah.
Like a niche, so being known for a specific thing, and then is very helpful in growth, but consistency is like absolutely vital. Yeah. You could be a generalist and still make it, but you cannot make it without some level of consistency.
Yeah. I like that quote that it's, I don't know exactly what will happen if you go for it, but I know what will happen if you don't go for it. Yeah. So it's like you start putting yourself out there, and something will happen, and I can't really tell you the exact thing that's going to happen, but otherwise you're going to be in the same place a year from now if you're continuously putting it off. Mm-hmm. But yeah, consistency is it's a big one. Consistency is key.
Wow.
Deep. Turn it into a meme.
Go.
What else do we want to flow on? There's one question I do want to ask people, and again, anybody who's watching this is actually live. I'm interested in who watches Facebook stories.
those just your Instagram stories posted?
They're your Instagram
But you
stories
watch them.
posted to Facebook,
Yeah.
but people, separate groups of people watch them on Facebook.
I'll compare. So I posted like a story yesterday and I'll look, and some people watch it more on Facebook.
Totally.
Some of them watch it on both. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, those.
They just go through the thing though. I think it just goes
just
to the
goes
next
play.
one, right? And they're like, okay, great. But yeah,
But there's a lot of people who watch Facebook stories. I never watch Facebook.
I never watched Facebook stories.
I don't like. Do people? No, seriously.
don't
Whoever's
use it.
watching this, do you watch Facebook stories? I'm curious, not because I'm like, I don't judge it. We all watch whatever we want to watch, but it's interesting to me because that never catches my eye for whatever reason. Like it
Where
does take
it?
enough.
In the app, it's on top.
It's on top. When you go
Yeah.
to the top of your feed, you actually see it takes a large chunk of real estate.
Yeah.
But I don't ever
I just
really
don't
engage with
associate
it.
that platform to that.
Oh yeah,
that
it does.
use.
Yeah.
For me, it doesn't.
It's huge.
Huge.
It's like
It's
like-
bigger than Instagram.
It's like create, then it's actually
And you can even see the
physically bigger
beginning
than
of the
Instagram.
story, so you know kind of like what you're gonna get.
Exactly. You're actually seeing the first story or the whatever story
I mean, it didn't even.
occur to you, but it is there.
Yeah.
And it's like you're seeing more of that than you are seeing of the meat
Of
or whatever
Garrett's
the first
post.
of Garrett's post right underneath it.
Yeah, how's that doing? It's just a basic question. You don't have to answer that question. But I am trying to find health insurance for an entrepreneur freelance person. So that was the
A
question.
pneumatic struggle
Pneumatic-
right there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But yeah, I think we build our own SOP, our standard operating procedure when it comes to a per person, per social mix collage of what you go on there for. So,
And everybody has, like we were saying earlier, everybody has their preferred
like Pinterest
channel.
better,
Like yeah,
like
Pinterest
Reddit
or Twitter
better.
or Reddit or
I'm a YouTuber.
he's a
Definitely.
tuber.
I'm a tuber.
Tuber.
It's a tuber.
Definitely not. The only YouTube I watch is when at home, Garrett's like, you need to watch this video, and he puts it up on the TV, and that's about it.
Yeah, Garrett's still a YouTuber too, I think.
I'm a tuber as well.
Yeah.
I'm a tuber.
I think Garrett and I are both interested in YouTube. I probably consume the most YouTube, and then Instagram and Facebook are just like they're more like status checks for me. I don't really consume content there. I don't I never check the feeds of things. I'm more so just studying what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in the growth of, it's almost like I'm paying attention to the pulse of the algorithm more so than I am to the content itself. But on YouTube, I'm actually interested in the content.
So so Instagram's definitely one of mine, and LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I consume
And so Pinterest is third for you, or Facebook's third for you?
Pinterest would be third.
Wow.
So when you get on there, do you just scroll or do you go there with a purpose and you're Pinterest? Do you I'm going to
both.
look for
Sometimes when I'm
Yeah.
bored, kind of like you do through Instagram, when you're just like, you kind of open up your phone and I've got nothing to do, I'm killing time, I'll just scroll through because
it's
based
my
on
time
what
killer.
you've saved, it'll give you suggestions. So mine's a lot of fitness videos or like workout tips, a lot of yoga tips because I would get some inspiration from there for teaching or stuff like that, and recipes. But if I'm looking for something, how do I make the jackfruit pulled pork, for example? My first gut thing would be like open Pinterest, jackfruit pulled pork, and see what pops up.
so good. I love it. I had a Beyond Burger the other day. So good.
How do you feel about those? They're getting super popular.
I think it's cool. I actually haven't done a lot of research when it comes to
How sustainable it is.
how sustainable it is and like the company's MO and everything. But I think like rule of thumb, maybe this is like to a fault whenever I do see alternative forms of meat and I do see what I perceive to be a healthy choice for the environment and for a person. Typically, I kind of nod my head to it. But for me, it's more than just the product. It's more of like the ethos and what that represents to me personally. Because one of the main reasons why I started eating less meat is because just the environmental impact that I saw within Cowspiracy, and also just like had an intuitive feeling that I was just kind of like, I don't really need to eat as much meat anymore. And it's kind of just dwindled down to very little. But that's kind of like my perception on it, the industry in that way. And unless I shake the hand of the person that killed the animal, or I killed it myself, then I'm just a little bit less wary. And I don't crave it that much anymore. So it's not something that I think about too often. Mm-hmm. But it tasted very good, the Beyond Burger. I thought it was tasty. Beyond Meat, or
Beyond Burger. I think Beyond Burger is the right terminology for that.
Added at Love, yeah. It's
but
good.
I mean, it's, I think the interesting thing of what's going on in the world today too, when it comes to social media, is that we're in our own bubble. So in my world, it felt like it was massive because, I don't know, it's just like part of the culture that is environmentalism / consciousness / whatever, that vein of people. But then to watch it just like hit the stock market, which I guess is kind of like, okay, what does the general public think about it? And not just the public, but then like even like Wall Street. What does Wall Street think about it? And then it just watch it skyrocket on the stock market. Oh, it if you bought Beyond Meat on day one on the initial public offering
or something, and now it's like 170.
Oh, you would have made like hundreds of percent, if not thousands of percentage return already. It would have been your best performing. It's one of the best investments you could have made in 2019.
Mm-hmm. Dairy's going down a bunch. Alternative milks are being consumed more.
Yeah. Oat milk's the jam right now for me.
Yeah, I like oat milk.
It's definitely good. It's sweet.
Which I think is what I like about it.
I don't like just drink a glass of milk or alternative milk at all. It's smoothies and with my latte.
Smoothies, latte, and my cereal.
Yeah.
I don't really drink.
I'm not like, let me get a big glass of cashew milk with my 90% cacao chip cookies, gluten free.
Could you tell that we haven't
Sounds
eaten yet?
good.
And we're hungry? All right, ladies and gentlemen,
I
think it's about that time.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that.
Let's send them off with, if you watch this, you had a good time. Know that there's audio versions of this podcast. It's streamed to 11 different places. We're on Anchor FM, which broadcasts to SoundCloud and Apple, iTunes, blah blah blah, all those things.
Everywhere.
If you liked it, leave us a comment. If you're watching this later, leave us another comment too. We'll check these things. We do geek out on all of this stuff. But thank you so much for
answer them next episode.
Exactly. Yeah, we're always trying to kind of think about topics from things that were brought up either in our lives or in previous episodes. And just leave us a comment. We're dialing this in more and more and more. I think you're going to see more and more of this particular space and more conversations around this, and more content, very specifically, shorter format, around these topics as well. So, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you so much for participating, sharing, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you later. Bye.